Hi, my name is Becky. I'm a Christian and I have ADHD and bipolar type 2. And this is video number 6. God did a really big, deep healing in me, in the inner person. I don't know what you want to call it, spirit, soul, inner man. That part was damaged. I think the ADHD had a big part in just the trauma, perceived rejection, just feeling different, feeling like I don't belong, like there's something wrong with me, of making a mistake in front of everybody and just feeling humiliated. If you have ADHD, I'm sure you can relate and you know what I'm talking about. Once I surrendered to God, once I had that moment of no more, I'm done with this life. God, I'll do anything. I just can't live like this anymore. And then I just had to have that humility, just swallow my pride and go get help and go to the therapist. And I was just so terrified that someone would find out, and then everybody would find out, and then everyone in the whole world would think I had problems or something, or they would think, wow, things must be really bad. You only go to the therapist if you are on the brink of suicide or something. I was just terrified people were gonna know and judge me. Funny story, years later, I actually am going into my therapist and someone I know is coming out, and I had that moment of like, there's someone I know here. It was afterwards that I realized that was one of my biggest fears. Like, that was the reason why I avoided going for so long, and it finally happened and it was not a big deal. I had been just growing and healing and just learning better ways of living. And I had so far to go. I am still learning how to live more functionally and how to live healthfully, and still layers of healing, like things happen, I get triggered, and then old feelings come up, and it's like, wow, I'm still dealing with this. Like, God, why am I still struggling? Like, why do I still feel rejected when my husband says this or does this? Or why do I still have these anxieties? Why am I still being held back? It keeps coming in layers, but the farther I go, the more progress I make, the more encouraged I am to keep going, and the easier it gets. I'm, listening to podcasts, read a few books, completed them even. And I hit a plateau, and I could see myself making slow progress in areas of anger and depression and self-hate, but it was still a nagging problem, and it was still getting in the way of being the mother I wanted to be to my children. And I could see my kids picking up my dysfunctional ways of being, of hitting myself when I made a mistake. I was self-sabotaging, just still sinking in depression. And now I know bipolar ADHD were absolutely contributing to that. There was one day when I was praying, and the pastor had encouraged us to pray and ask God, what do you want me to do? He was going through the spiritual gifts and discovering what gift we had, and just asking God, what do you want me to do? So I'm in my prayer closet, because that's where I pray best, because I can just shut out the distractions. And I asked God, what do you want me to do? And then the thought that came was just this book my husband had been wanting me to read. It was called Conform to His Image. I get out that book, and I flip to the section on spiritual gifts, and I'm reading, and I read the one on healing. And he said that there's more than just physical healing that's available. There's mental healing of, traumatic memories. There is spiritual healing, emotional healing. I'm trying to remember exactly how he said it, but basically it's not just healing of our bodies. There's healing of the inner person too. And it was like the light bulb went off of like, oh my gosh, it's what I need. I've been praying and praying and praying for victory, and I've been trying, and I've been, learning all different kinds of ways to get victory over these areas. and I'm so struggling. I'm making like inches of progress. And I need to be like actually making feet and miles of progress to actually get to a healthy place. So I realized I needed to be healed, and maybe that's why God hasn't fixed me yet, because he wants to heal me. So I immediately thought of the verse in James 5, where it talks about if anybody is weak and you need healing, call the elders, ask them to pray over you, and God will lift you up. So I messaged my pastor. At the time we just had deacons, so I was like, can you and the deacons pray over me for this, because I need healing? And he said yes. So that Sunday they prayed over me, and it was so encouragement to have people have their hand on your shoulder and to pray for you. I mean, talking to God about me, asking God to help me with my problems. It was very humbling, but it was so encouraging at the same time. When I left the room and I see people just kind of hanging around after church talking, it was like I was seeing them with new eyes. Like, I just loved everybody. And it was just so weird, because I'm not an affectionate person. I mean, I am with my kids and my husband, but I wasn't really one of those people that's just very loving and huggy and stuff. So it was just very odd to feel this, like, oh, I just want to go up to people and I just want to love them, and I see my kids and I just want to keep kissing them, and like I want to help people. Like, I don't feel like I need help. I'm not looking at people like, who can help me, who can fix me, who can save me. You know, I'm looking at people and I'm like, oh, I want to find someone who needs help. I want to find someone who's in a dark place, who needs love, encouragement. I've learned now that you can't just go fixing people. But at the time, it's like I just so badly wanted to help people go from where I was to where I am now. So that was a huge, huge healing. Just a big healing of just the trauma. And when that was healed, I still had the anger, and I still had the depression, and I still had all those things, but they were not quite as big. They didn't have quite of a hold. And it was almost like it was just normal sized problems. It wasn't compounded by years of trauma. And it just seemed more manageable. And when I would start to want to hate myself and verbally abuse myself, it was like it just didn't fit anymore. Like, I start saying, oh, I'm so stupid. It's like, it doesn't feel like it fits. It just feels like, that's not right. Like, nah, that's not me anymore. I gotta do something else. So I still had to learn of how to maintain that kind of healthy inner person. Unfortunately, I didn't know how to live in that. So just as life goes on, more damage happens. I just found myself in a dark place again. And God healed me again. The same way, going to the elders for prayer. And this time we'd gone from deacons to elders. And God was so good to heal me again. So in the next video, I'll talk more about finding out my diagnosis and where I'm at now. I hope this has been an encouragement to you.